In geopolitics, things rise and fall frequently. The Roman Empire, the British Empire, and the Venezuelan economy have all grown and subsequently have seen their downfall. In 2016, the Venezuelan bolivar had an exchange rate of about 6 to every US dollar. Since then, inflation has hammered the bolivar to be near worthless. To get $1 today, you would need 119,900 bolivars, an inflation rate of over 17,000%. While there wasn't much of a rise to the Venezuelan currency, it has certainly experienced an incredibly severe fall in value. Venezuela rely heavily on one export: oil and other mineral fuels. This makes up about 91% of their total income, and relying so heavily on one trade sector is a fundamentally bad idea. Oil is a limited resource and it cannot be renewed as it takes millions of years to form naturally. As fossil fuels are extracted from the ground and consumed, the amount of it decreases and will undeniably run out eventually. Once this happens, the country will stop raking in that huge percentage of their GDP, and that could only spell disaster for an economy. A major example of this is Nauru, a very small island nation in the Pacific Ocean, 4,500 kilometers away from Hawaii, and nearly 3,000 kilometers from Australia. Like I said, it's tiny, home to just 13,000 people, or just over 4 times the population of Khamphai Pachwinga Khogao Khandor Sansilio Gogogor. In 1900, large deposits of phosphate, which were formed by loads of bird excrement, were discovered on the island, and this phosphate, much like oil today, was extremely valuable. The Nauruans decided to take advantage of their luck and exploit the land for profit. Nauru quickly made money and became the richest sovereign state in the world by GDP per capita, while being the most unlikely candidate for such title. However, Nauru is only 21 square kilometers. You could literally walk the country in just 50 minutes. And when a tiny island has natural resources that are being mined relentlessly, it will run out, and very fast. You would think that the government was smart enough to think ahead and decide to hold money reserves for when this would have inevitably happened. However, in thinking that, you would be totally wrong, as they ended up investing in a London-based musical of Leonardo da Vinci, which totally flopped and lost the country the equivalent of $7 million today. Which, to a large country, would not be all that bad, but to a country whose GDP is in the millions, that is detrimental. Fast forward to today, and Nauru have nearly run out of phosphate, and 80% of the land is infertile, after it was decimated by excessive mining, meaning agriculture is now severely limited. Most of the villages are based around the outer main ring road because the vast majority of the centre is left beyond rugged from mineral exploitation. Since agriculture isn't much of an option for the people of Nauru anymore, they have to rely on imports from the US, and if you combine high-calorie foods with Polynesian genes, you are asking for an obesity epidemic. Today, 94% of the population are categorically overweight, and 71% obese. As a result, the life expectancy has plummeted to just 60 years old, while the rate of diabetes is over 30%. In just 30 years, Nauru went from being one of the richest countries per person to being poorer than Brazil, with a GDP per capita of only $7,800. For comparison, the global average is $15,000, while the richest per capita is Liechtenstein at $179,000. So how are they even making that much if they can't farm and have barely any natural resources to speak of? In 2001, Nauru made a deal with Australia to harbour an offshore detention centre for asylum seekers on Australian soil, and in return, Australia would provide foreign aid. This was a controversial decision from Nauru, but this country had grown desperate over the years, so any shot at additional income and jobs was one that they were willing to take, given that at the time 90% of Nauruans were now unemployed. There is one major example that Nauru sets for the rest of the world. that non-renewable sources are finite and will run out eventually, and that while a single really valuable export may really help an economy flourish in the short term, it will only spell disaster when that very export runs low.